Hello everybody, welcome again. My name is Steven, and today, welcome to Patch Notes. So today we are looking at League of Legends, and first of all, on screen you should be able to see the good old Rise rework, which is absolutely fabulous. Anyway, let's jump in. So first of all, let's have a look at some champion changes. Now, normally I don't do these like mini changes, but I think the two that I'm going to be talking about today are big enough to talk about fully. So first of all is Leona. Leona's getting a bit of a change to her Solar Flare, which is the ultimate, and it's mainly just due to a new passive on it, which is now after Solar Flare, Leona gains Indicate for 5 seconds. During this time, Leona's next 3, 4, and 5 basic attacks gain 100 range, deal a bit more damage as bonus magic damage, and applies Sunlight, which is a passive. Now, this is actually a big change for Leona, and it should actually allow Leona to be a lot more useful in team fights, because at the moment she'll just blow a load and that's it, done. She has nothing else to do in team fights, and it actually left her in a little bit of a bad situation in terms of competitive league, because if she can't do anything in team fights, there's no use for her. And then you have other supports such as Brom, who can constantly do things in team fights, which makes him so much better. So this change should allow Leona to actually become a little bit more better in terms of her competitive league, and because of how good she was in solo queue anyway, this should now buff her a bit more to actually allow her to be played a little bit more than the likes of Brom and other types of supports. The next change is again to another support, and it's to Leona. No, it's to Sona. So Sona's getting a bit of a change to her to all of her abilities. She's getting like it feels like a complete rework type ordeal, just without changing the abilities. But we're going to be looking at the ultimate, the crescendo, because this one is the big meat and bones now. This is where all of the power goes into, due to passives and such as that. So, the passive effect. Each rank of crescendo used to improvise, like, power up Sona's auras. Now, they reduce Sona's abilities by 20, all the way up to 40%. Obviously, that could change, so just be a little bit wary of that. And this actually also now changes the way of different abilities work. So the Hymn of Valor bonus, this is actually the Q, I believe it was. So the cooldown has been reduced, which is quite nice. The Porphyria bonus, this is the healing one. So the cooldown again has gone down. And then the celerity, this is the movement speed one. That's also gone down. And all of them have different effects on them, but they're not really like big of changes. There's like number changes. So if you want to know more about Leona and Sona, then I recommend go check out the patch notes. If I remember, they'll be in the description. Next up, we have another little mini small change. It doesn't seem like it's going to be impacting much, and it's actually cooldown timers. So if you right click and tab and do all the things, click certain things like major abilities, items, summoner spells and such as that, while holding your alt, it will actually now post a little thing in chat saying how long you got left until it's open, or when it's up, which is actually a nice little change. So you could tell your teammates that you need to wait another 5 seconds before my ultimate comes up, or I've got 10 seconds for my zone user to come up, you know, things like that. So it actually allows it to be very useful. Also, if somebody's not really hitting tab to see the dragon timer and such as that, you can right click, hit the tab, click the timer on the dragon, and it would post it in chat for your team to know. So it's all cool. It's actually a nice little change. It doesn't change too much of the game. It just allows you to be a little bit more, it allows you to communicate a little bit more with your teammates, and that's actually a very nice change. Now here comes the meat and grind of things. We have the Rise rework. So first of all, let's go over the Rise's skin. So this is the default Rise. He looks awesome. I actually quite like the new Rise. He looks kind of cool, and I'll show you his abilities in a second. The next skin. Now this skin was a very important one, because it was actually one of his first skins ever released, but then they ended up retiring it because it was Human Rise. That's right, Human Rise was an old skin that very little amount of people have, and Riot actually updated the skin and changed the name of the skin and made it so much more interesting and weird, and it's actually called Young Rise. This skin is actually now a lore skin, and it was actually, this was what Rise used to look like before he came blue. So that's kind of cool. The next skin we have is actually his Tribal. Now, his Tribal skin is basically what the Human Rise was. So it was always weird because you had Human Rise and then you had this skin that were both very similar in terms of looks. So Riot's actually now gone. Riot's now just basically said that it's on its own because they've changed Young Rise. You've got Young Rise, you've got this one for Rise. So now they're very different rather than being the exact same like they used to be, which is actually a nice little change in my opinion. Next up, we have Uncle Rise. Uncle Rise is a very nice skin. I actually quite like Uncle Rise. It's actually one of the skins I actually own myself because I actually quite like the skin. And even though it may be not really changed too much, it's still a very nice skin and I'm happy with it. So the next skin on the chopping block is actually the Triumphant Rise. So Triumphant Rise was a skin that you would get if you win a tournament that was somewhat related to Riot. So it doesn't have to be official. Well, it had to be official. It didn't have to be the LCS. That's what I'm getting at. It could be like community-made events that Riot said, yes, you can do it, and we'll offer this skin for you. Which was quite nice. But still, after that, not many people actually have this skin because only 5 players per team would get this skin, and not many events were actually accepted to get this skin. So, not many people would have this, really. I would say about, it's about 500-ish. Maybe more, maybe less. I don't know. Must be around about that. It seems like a generous number. But not many people will have this skin overall. Next up, we have Professor Rise. So Professor Rise is just basically the whole take on the Academy theme that was actually taken up. I'm getting messages. Boo, go away. So it's a nice skin. I actually quite like it. I don't own it. It's still quite nice though. That's that one. Next up, we have Zombie Rise. Zombie Rise has taken an entire different look to it. Previously, he looked like a zombie. Now, he doesn't really as much. He just looks like a, not sure, like a necromancer. That's what he looks like. Got the word, yeah. So he looks like a necromancer, and he looks pretty cool. Next skin, we have Dark Crystal. Dark Crystal Rise was a very interesting Rise skin because it would actually make him all purpley and stuff. And he looks pretty good. The next skin we have is Pirate Rise. Pirate Rise is somewhat interesting. He was always very known for being the most interesting Rise skin because his Q animation, instead of him firing it from his hands, he would actually fire it from his cannon, which is pretty interestingly cool. I actually quite like that fact. And that's still staying in this skin. He actually uses his cannon to cast his Q, which is really nice. I actually quite like that. So it's a very unique skin in terms of just having a new animation. Other than that, I don't think I'm not going to be showing the image off, but the Rise Whitebeard skin, which was actually a recent skin for him, it was released last year. Well, at the end of last year was the whole Dragon Trainer Stastana and all that lot, and it was a pretty nice skin. And they've updated it, just brought him along to the new model. It doesn't look much different. That's why I'm not going to be showing him off here, just because he doesn't seem to change that much. So that is the Rise skins. He does look pretty cool. But let's get onto his abilities, shall we? So first of all, we have his passive. Now, he hasn't really changed too much in terms of his passive, because his passive now, but like always, Rise's spells deals additional damage based on his bonus mana, and his maximum mana is increased by a percentage of his ability power. So not too much of a change there. It's just like maybe just like a reword, add a little key to it. They're like little points there and there. But overall, not too much difference. His Q is Overload. Actually, is not changed at all. Also, so his passive on his Overload, casting Rise's other abilities, resets the cooldown of Overload and begins charging a rune. Cast another spell, not Overload, within this window to fully charge the rune, or cast Overload to cancel the charge. Is active. Fire a runic blast in a direction, dealing magic damage to the first enemy struck. If Rise has a rune fully charged, when he casts Overload, he is shield and gains a temporary movement speed boost. So overall, this ability is now a very important ability on his kit. It's all about like comboing it with other abilities, like using your Spell Flux, your Runic Prison, and then going to the Q if you want the movement speed or that, which lowers your damage output a little bit. Or you can go I think his combo is Q, W, Q, E, Q type thing. You know, it actually allows him to get a lot of abilities out. And I actually really like this. I tried him out on the PvE, and he is so much fucking fun now. He's by far so much better. And he actually feels so much cooler to play. Next up, we have his fabulous and not changed at all W. Rune Prison. Instantly root a target and deal magic damage. That is it. Flat out simple. Hasn't changed. Let's just move on because there's no point talking about it really. Now we have is Spell Flux. Spell Flux is actually used to be like a little bit of a ability you just use. It wasn't very important. It was just an ability. You know, just allow you to do stuff. Now, Spell Flux is actually a very important ability because of what it can do. So first of all, magic damage dealt to a target and marks it with Flux. Rise's next spell on targets marked with Flux would deal bonus effects. This is where it's important now. If he casts Overload onto the champion, Overload deals bonus damage and bounces to nearby enemies also marked with Flux. Or, if you cast your W, the root duration of Rune Prison is doubled. That's pretty nice. If you cast his E again, Spell Flux implies Flux to all nearby enemies. If a target is marked with Flux is killed by any champion, Flux is implied to all nearby enemies. This is such an important ability now, because you can use this to do so fucking much. So if you guys remember when I said the old Rise combo, the E into the Q, that is very important because you go E, Q, W, Q, and you just keep spamming, you know, just keep switching between Q and ability type ordeal, because it just gets so much damage out, and just the fact that your E, if the mark with Flux does more damage, it is stupid. Also, you can use this ability to allow you to get away from enemies, because if you spell, you can go E, W, and then run away. Or you can go E, W, Q, and then you've stunned them for twice the amount because of the bonus effect on Spell Flux to Rune Prison, and you've used your Q, which gives you your fully stacked Overload, which gives you the shield and movement speed. So it's so good in terms of just the overall amount of combos you can do, and I can't wait to see him in the hands of some professionals, and especially fucking Faker, especially how good he was with the old Rise. I want to see him with this new Rise. Next up, we have his ultimate, and fucking hell is this weird. So, Rise's ultimate, Realm Warp. Open a portal to a location in a short distance away. A couple of seconds later, all allied units within the portal sphere are warped to the target location. It can't be self-cast, because warping to your own location would be silly. Obviously. So, overall, this ability is very interesting, shall I say. And it actually can set up some good stuff. It could also fuck your team over. It's going to be weird. I want to see how many people are going to be using it. But overall, when I was playing him, I really didn't like this ability. It just didn't feel right to use a lot of the time. And most of the time, it was just used to like set up ganks and things like that. So it wasn't really a very impactful ability, should I say. Because to me, it felt a lot like Tom Kench's ultimate, where it's not very impactful. It's just used to really set up ganks type of deal. So, yeah, you know, what you're going to do. Next up, we have skins. And as you guys should know, over a year ago, we had the last set of pool parties. And year before that, 2 years before that, I think, we had another set of pool parties. But this year, we're getting another set of pool parties. And there's actually only 3 of them this time around, which is weird. So, first skin is Pool Party Fiora. Fiora looks absolutely fabulous. What can I say? It's Fiora. Fiora's cool. Skins for her are cool. I just love the new look for your Fiora, since her rework is great. But yeah, what else can you say? It's Fiora. So if you guys want to see more like particle effects and stuff, I recommend go check out skin spotlights on this. They're awesome. They show off a lot of the cool effects. So there you go. Next up, we then have Pool Party Miss Fortune. Miss Fortune looks equally as awesome, just like the Fiora one. And I'm actually genuinely surprised this year, because Riot stated that they didn't really want to use female characters because it would just be like they're trying to play into the sexual type thing, and it's blah. But they would always do males, they would put males in this, like Draven Ashley with the Speedos, like trying to make them like really sexy men, ooh. And they would always leave the females out, and A lot of people didn't like that. I don't really care, to be honest. I don't care. As long as the skin looks cool, I don't care. But they didn't do that. Loads of people got annoyed, and Riot stated that, and they wouldn't do it, and they would always use like monsterish females like Lulu and Rek'Sai. The only one they did that previously was to Leona. She had the pool party, and that was it. This year around, they changed their mind, and we got 2 pool party females of Fiora and Misfortune, which is absolutely fabulous. And Misfortune's a bitch because who uses selfies? Bleh. But whatever. She's cool. Next up, we then have the man. Obviously, we always have to get some muscling man when it's a pool party. And this one is for Turak. And what a good fit is it. Turak is awesome. I love it, the rework Turak. He's so cool. I don't really like playing him. I'm not a fan of using his kit, but I love playing with Turaks, especially good Turaks. Like, fuck me. Turak is cool when you're playing with him. But that is Turak. What else to say? He's a man. He's muscly and he shows off his chest a lot, and yeah. I don't know what else to say. But there you guys go. If you want to see more of these skins and all the Rise skins, again, go check out Skin Spotlights. They have all of the skins on there, and you can actually see them for all their glory, all their particle effects and everything, and it looks so good. So yeah, that's literally all of it. That's this patch, which is already out by the time you guys see this, because the patch comes out Wednesday morning, and I'm recording this on Tuesday. So there you guys go. If you guys want more information, then go check out the patch notes, you know, just to get more information on things, and that's everything. So there are a few more little smaller bits, but I'm not going to be talking about them, so there you go. Anyway, I'll see you all next time. Until then, everyone, bye.